Hello, today I'll be presenting the scenario for the conference company, which is a registration and logistics company that holds and registers, connects sponsors with attendees for technical conferences across the world. They have 2 million different pre-registered attendees per conference, and each conference usually has 10 to 100 different sponsors per conference. So we're going to be dealing with large data volumes here. But currently their solution is Excel, which they're trying to replace with a system that's unified in Salesforce. The risk identified is that they have an existing gateway that needs to be credit payment industry compliant. So we'll be enabling that through Chargent, which has shadow records for the storage of tokenized information that is referred to within the gateway itself. Tokenized credit card information stored in the gateway and then referred to within Chargent through its own shadow records and shadow objects. There's also large data volumes in the solution, so we'll be using Salesforce Archive for the archival of the large data volumes, including 2 million different pre-registered attendees. And then there's a need for email and SMS consent. Given the fact that we're operating globally, we need to make sure that we are GDPR compliant. So we'll have contact point objects that will be enabled and adhered to for the consent tracking for individuals within the solution. The assumptions are made is that Salesforce will be the system record for the sponsors and attendance, and the logistics system will be the system record for the conferences, and they will also be accessed by the designers who are designing the conferences. Moving on to the actors, we have the account managers that receive Sales Cloud license to be able to work with business for setup. We have the meeting planners that receive Sales Cloud license as well, since they are accessing the solution, and they'll need to be able to view the attendance and the orders. They'll need the Sales Cloud license. And then they'll also have access to the logistics app, which is a Canvas app in the solution. And then they'll be able to have single sign-on via SAML, which is facilitated by the Canvas app. We'll have customer support agents that have received Service Cloud as well. They will be able to support the individual attendees on cases that are raised within the solution. Sponsors receive partner community license, since they're also going to be dealing with the advertising promotion of the conference. Chose to use partner community license for that. And the attendees are going to be receiving customer community license for registering and attending the conference. Actually, let me step back for a second. I'm going to actually change the solution here to be customer paid plus, given the fact that they just need advanced sharing and they don't have access to leads or opportunity checks. Moving on to the system landscape, we have a single org here that will be, I didn't see any for multi-org system, given the fact there isn't big discrepancies across different processes here, and there's no data residency requirements. We'll have multi-language enabled using a translation workbench that translates the metadata, including custom labels and HTML templates. And then we'll also enable multi-currency for the internationalization of the currency as well. The single org will have DocuSign for the e-signature capability. Chargent will be integrated with the existing payment gateway. And then we'll have Marketing Cloud for the SMS and email outreach. We'll have the internal user authenticate using SAML via Okta. Okta will then federate entities from the Active Directory ID store. The external users will use and be able to access the attendee portal. And they will also be able to access using mobile app and mobile publisher app, that is the mobile version of the attendee portal. They'll be able to access conferences from there, and also be able to use not only their native credentials when they register, but also Facebook and Google credentials that is set up using an auth provider that validates the ID token that's returned by these two social media providers. There's also going to be a separate portal for the conferences as well that will grant access to the sponsor portal. Now grant access to the sponsors to be able to pay and order sponsorship for the different conferences. Also have an ESB that's provisioned for or set up for the outlet connectivity. It will expose reusable APIs for system APIs process APIs and experience APIs that are integrated with the logistics system. The logistics system will integrate with Salesforce using the Canvas functionality. They didn't specify the protocols in this Canvas, the logistics system accepts, so I'm going to assume that it can. I'm going to assume and play it safe and have an ESP that will then, if it doesn't support REST, it will support REST with the ESP that will mediate that. We'll also have an ETL provisioned by the data steward that will migrate the data from Excel, where they're currently managing their conferences, into Salesforce, and that will then create the different records for the conference management. Moving on now to the requirements. The conference setup starts the process where they are setting up conferences. The meeting planners will access the logistics app using their credentials that they're already using for their that is already set up within their current identity provider or their ID store. So what Salesforce will do is establish a trusted relationship with Okta. Okta will then federate identities from the identity store. What they'll be able to do then, once they've logged in using SAML via Okta, is be able to simply access the Canvas app, which is the Canvas app in this case. It's a logistics app that's hosted in the iframe. Salesforce will pass a SAML assertion response to the Canvas app that will then lock them into the Canvas app, which is the logistics app, where they can then create new conferences and then make those available for the attendees to see. So when they do create a conference within the Canvas app, what will happen is that a corresponding conference will also be created within Salesforce. To enable that, we'll have an OAuth token that is generated from the which is in JOT format that's generated from the Canvas app that's been passed for an access token to the Salesforce app. And that conference will be read-only, a public read-only for the ability for sponsors as well as attendees to see it. And the MP will also be the owner of the actual conference, since they are the only ones that can edit it from Salesforce. And also, I'll also specify that they can't edit the conference in Salesforce. What they can do is edit it, since the system record is the logistics app, they'll edit it directly with the logistics app, and that those changes are synced back to Salesforce. So we don't have bidirectional syncing here. The potential and current sponsors will then access and view the conferences. What they will do then is express interest by creating a lead record that will be facilitated by a screen flow from the system that will create a lead record, as well as sponsorship and interest record for the different conferences that they're interested in. It's a private OWD, and it will be owned by the account manager. The account manager will also own the lead that once it is created. That will be facilitated by lead assignment rules based on the geographic location. So a lead assignment rule will then assign a lead to the geography, that is a queue. And then there will be omni-channel for the ability for the sponsor to be automatically, or actually, I'm just going to keep it like that. So we're just going to assign it to a queue, and then we're not going to assign it to a specific person. They can pick it up as they choose. The lead conversion is done by the account manager as well. So what they'll do is they'll convert the lead once they've reviewed the sponsorship interests and communicated with them. What they'll do is create convert the lead, which will then create an account. That will also create then an opportunity as well that's owned by the same account manager. And also opportunity line items based on the expressed interest of the sponsorship packages that they're choosing to buy. In my object model, the products will represent the different sponsorship options, and the price books will represent the different countries that are available. And then that will merge to a price book entry that stores the pricing of the actual sponsorship product that they're purchasing. The account manager will be able to then create manually the OLIs as well. They will be able to add those manually as a party opportunity. And then once they have, and also customize a custom sponsorship package, so they can really edit the opportunity and customize the opportunity items that are available or being marketed and sold as they choose. But once they're ready to send it to the company, what they'll do is create a quote, and quote line items will spin off of that. That will then be sent to the sponsor. The sponsor will receive a PDF. And then that will also trigger a DocuSign signature via an email that's sent to their email address based on the account email. Once they have signed it, that will then create an order and an order of products for the order that has been agreed to and paid. So it'll create an inactive order initially, but once the order is created, the account will then be responsible for payment processing. So that business account will be responsible for payment processing. They'll be able to access the system using their credentials that are set up when they are converted, and they'll be able to then pay for the order itself that is associated with that, the order products that are associated with the different packages or the package that they agreed to. The conference registration follows a similar process, except it doesn't include the opportunity line items or quotes. What they will do is a potential attendee will be able to access the attendee portal, as well as the mobile publisher app. They'll be able to self-register as well, and they'll also be able to self-register using Facebook and Google credentials. What that will do then is create a person account for the attendee. The person account for the attendee will then, once they are ready to check out on an order, they'll create an order record and an order product that will be guided through a screen flow. That screen flow will also include the creation and interface for the charge and checkout. The charge and checkout will be facilitated by the charge and order objects that are part of the managed package. That will integrate then with the Payment Gateway. The Payment Gateway will actually be doing the payment processing. Charge and orders includes the shadow records that will then represent the payment and the transaction statuses. The customer will receive a receipt via charging as well as a part of the managed package. They also can send out payment receipts that are sent out via the charge and managed package. The attendees, once they've paid for the actual order and the order is activated with the order products, which include the actual conference attendance receipt, they will also be able to consent to personalized emails and texts about the conference and selected sessions via the contact point consent object. Marketing Cloud will synchronize with that object and based on the object consent model, be able to automate emails and SMS personalization and journeys to the attendee so that they can then determine based on their preferences within the solution whether or not they want to receive opt-in. When an order is activated, what the Salesforce solution will do is trigger a CDC train data capture event that will then include the active orders. Those are then using pub sub published to the logistics app for the attendance. So we're tracking attendance at the order and order product level. And based on the order products and the combination of that order and the lookup to the conference, they'll be able to determine the actual number of attendees that are attending the conference, and also that will be handled in the logistics app too for the MP to be able to then determine whether or not they want to plan additional sessions. So we'll just be syncing data for the attendance to the logistics app. For the conference events, the attendees will be able to create cases. What they will do is go into the attendee portal and then create a case that is associated with their person account record. Didn't talk about the large data volumes there, but I'm going to assume that there's going to be a large data volume as well, since we are dealing with millions of attendees per conference. So what we'll do is have the Salesforce archive policy that will archive the cases as soon as they're closed. And the same goes for the orders and order products. As soon as those are the conferences are finished, we'll archive those, and they'll be virtualized back into Salesforce using the Salesforce archive virtualization feature. Attendees will be able to then go into the mobile app once they're at the conference and check in for the session based on their geographic location. This will be facilitated within the mobile publisher app. Using LWC, I'm going to assume that we don't need to have geofencing for them to walk into a conference and it automatically check them in. What they will do is open up the app and then confirm using the LWC's native geolocation features for determining GPS location, that it will then be able to then confirm that they've checked in. The LWC will also be displayed for the sponsors within the sponsor portal for them to then view the post-conference attendee attendance information, which will be based on the order and order items, and then also return on investment, which I'm assuming return on investment is not tracked in the solution for the return on investment is the attendance, I'm assuming. So we're just going to assume that if we want to track maybe click-through rate on the order or on the conference for the email that are sent out, then we could do that using Marketing Cloud as well. Data requirements here, since they are surprisingly using existing spreadsheets or using spreadsheets for tracking all of this, we will migrate the data from the spreadsheets into Salesforce. Data steward will, of course, need to use an SFTP for this to records into Salesforce. This will be facilitated within Informatica that will load into a staging table with the CSV data. And then the data steward will be responsible for mapping the columns and the rows from the Excel tables to the target schema mapping, and then migrating those into the solution itself. We're going to also assume that the migration of the orders and order products will be based on it didn't really specify the historical information requirement, but we're going to assume that we'll need to migrate those as well. So for any existing conferences, we'll need to make sure that they are migrated as well, that are pending conferences, they are migrated as well with orders and order products. And the order products need to be created from the gateway that currently exists for the payment transaction tracking. So we'll just need to make sure that as a part of the controlled cutover, that there's a delta load of transactions that have occurred between the development of the solution and the testing of the solution and the cutover. Finally, on the data requirements, we have some concern with GCC about the learning curve of working with this new system, not working in Excel. So we need to make sure that there's certain controls and guardrails within the solution that are inherent. So we'll have object level security to prevent deletion of critical records. Screen flows will be in place for the creation of orders, as well as the creation of opportunities and quotes. And then we'll have validation rules to ensure that they are not unnecessarily editing records or that we're validating the updates that are being made by users. Single sign-on will be enabled for the users that shouldn't be using their username and password. We already have network credentials that are stored within that LDAP ID store. What they'll do is log in using Okta, using SAML via Okta. Okta will then federate those identities. OIDC will facilitate the single sign-on for the attendees that are not choosing to use their native credentials. Tokenization via the charging objects will secure and ensure that we have PCI compliance. Object ownership-based sharing rules will share a read-only access to the roles per territory for the account managers. So what we'll do is have a role hierarchy that's partitioned by the different territories that exist for the account managers, and then we'll have ownership-based sharing rules that will share read-only access based on the role that is owning the record. And then finally, we have the conferences that need to only be modified by the MPs, meeting planners. What they will do is have access, and so they will also own the conference, but they will only be able to modify the conferences within the system record, which is that logistics app, and that logistics apps will be accessible to them via Canvas. And that concludes our presentation. Thank you.